Hi, I'm Lily. Today I'm going to read the story Awkward Annie, reading in level 3A. Awkward Annie. Okay, let's read it. Chapter 1 Awkward Annie. That's what my mom and dad call me. Well, not all the time. When I'm being nice, that calls me Beautiful Bella. But that's not too often. Apparently, middle children are often awkward. At least that's what I heard of Aunt Aggie saying loudly once to Mom. Mom shut her up pretty quickly, but still, how'd you like it if people thought you were awkward? I don't think I'm awkward. Not really. I never mean to be awkward. And I tell you what, you'd be awkward too, with a family like mine. First, there's my really horrible big sister Posy. Perfect Posy, I call her, because she is. Perfect, that is. She never has a hair out of place. She always gets 10 out of 10 in her spelling tests. She knows her times table up to 100, and she never ever gets to trouble. Plus, she's always neat and tidy, so Mom never shouts at her. Sometimes I just hate having her for a big sister, and she makes it worse by always being so nice to me. Then there's Ant, my annoying little brother. He is 3 years old, and the biggest pain. He scribbles on all my pictures, splashes me in the bath, and pulls the legs off my dolls. He also runs around and shouts a lot for no reason at all. I call him Ants in your pants and often get cross with him, but when I shout at him, Mom says, "Oh, Annie, don't be awkward. You know he's only little." Huh. But no one was ever that nice to me when I was little. I expect they thought I should be more like Posy, just like they do now. Chapter 2 It's just as bad as school. Everyone thinks I'm awkward there too. Why can't you be more like your sister? My teachers say. She always sits nicely and does her sums. Or, what? You don't know how to spell difficulty? Yeah, Posy could do that when she was 5. Because I'm not my sister, I want to say, but don't. Because then they will think I'm awkward too, just like my mom and dad do. I don't think my parents mean to pick on me, and they try hard in that annoying parentally way of theirs. But really, they are so dull. Mom won't even let me have my belly button pierced. How unfair is that? She said things like over my dead body, and then Dad says, well, maybe when she's 18, which is another way of saying never. So I say, can't I have my ears pierced then? But Mom says, no, you can't, young lady. No, you can't, young lady. And then I say, but everyone else has their ears pierced, which isn't strictly true. Amy Erner does, but then she has a mobile phone and a DVD player in her room, and I know I don't stand a hope of getting them. Dad says, what? Everyone? And looks at me as if he is going to laugh, and then they both go, don't be awkward, Annie. And that's the end of that. Still, I suppose they aren't too bad as parents go. So long as Mom doesn't give me a kiss in the morning when she drops me at the school, I've trained her well. But sometimes she forgets. Chapter 3 I thought my family were pretty bad and that they couldn't get any worse. But I was so wrong, because then great Aunt Aggie came to say she is, and she is awful. Aunt Aggie looks about 100. She has a wrinkly face, a pointy nose with a wart on the end of it, and a wobbly belly. I swear she's a witch, but Posy tells me not to be so silly. She's enormously fat and plasters herself in smelly perfume that stings of lavender. It is disgusting, and so is she. But she is Dad's auntie and Grandpa's sister, so we have to be nice to her. She isn't even that old, so Posy says. But I heard Mom say she's 65, and that sounds ancient to me. Anyway, Aunt Aggie used to live in Australia, but has come back to live in Britain for a while, and as she has nowhere else to live, Mom and Dad said she could come and stay with us. Well, Dad said she could. Sometimes I think Mom isn't all that keen on her because once I heard her whisper loudly to Dad when she thought we weren't listening, "She's your aunt. Why don't you ask her when she's leaving?" Another time, she told her best friend on the phone if Aunt Aggie was still here at Christmas, she was going to run away from home. But that's daft. I mean, where would Mom go if she wasn't here? Mom, don't. That Mom Mom, don't run away from home. Children do. That's the way it works in books anyway. The thing is this though, even though I know that moms can't stand Aunt Aggie and wants her to live, if I am the slightest shouldn't eat all the roast potatoes as I get told of, like I have done something wrong. And but oh, one day I'll be grown up and they will be so sorry. Chapter 4. One day, a few weeks Aunt Aggie after Aunt Aggie arrived, she offered to take us to the park. I don't know why, because I don't think she likes children very much. Posy and I looked at each other in panic. Even Posy doesn't like Aunt Aggie over that much. It's alright, we cursed. But Mom said yes, that would be lovely. Completely ignoring our desperate pleas for mercy as she had to do some shopping, and then Posy got out of it because her friend Creepy Clara rang up and asked if Posy wanted to come over so they could practice their times table together. So Aunt Aggie and I laughed with my annoying little brother. I don't think Aunt Aggie is all that used to children. So the first thing that happened is that ants in your pants let go of her hand in the minute we got into the park, and they ran down the big hill that led to the woods. He certainly had ants in his pants that day because he ran so quickly. He certainly had ants in his pants that day because he ran so fast and Aggie couldn't keep up and was soon puffing crossly down the path shouting at him. In the end, she told me to go after him. Why me? I wanted to say, I'm just a kid. You're supposed to be looking after us. But then she stopped by the tyrant next to the ooze and blushed. Yeah, at the man who was selling ice cream. I don't know why. It must be some weird grown-up thing. He was as fat as old as she was, but within seconds, they were both holding hands. It was disgusting. They were way too old for that kind of thing. And it looked as though she had forgotten all about Aunt. Chapter 5. I was feeling pretty cross as I ran down the hill after Aunt, but when I got to the bottom, he was nowhere in sight. And I mean nowhere. I looked up and down the hill, but I couldn't see him anywhere. He must have gone into the woods. I felt a little anxious. I know he's annoying, but he's my little brother. I had to find him. And Aunt Aggie wasn't going to bother. So taking a deep breath, this was the place that Perfect Posy had once told me that was haunted. That me was haunted on a rare day when she was being mean to me. I ran to those. Actually, they were less disappointing. The oots. I mean, it was it was a few years since we'd been there, and I remember it was dark and so spooky, but There weren't even that many trees. Before I knew it, I had come out wondering about. I asked everyone I saw if they had seen a little boy with fair hair, and someone said yes, yes, I saw him. He went down to the lake. The lake? Didn't you tell me? I wanted to say. When? I wanted to say. When we were little, someone drowned in the lake. It's way deep. It's way deep. So, oh, it's way deep. And my annoying little brother can't swim. He's only 3. I thought about running back to the Aunt Aggie, but she was probably making delicious eyes at the ice cream man. She was worse than useless. Besides, I bet I can run faster than her. It was up to me now. I had to save my little brother, so I ran and ran as fast as I could. I ran until I felt my lungs were bursting right out of my body. And eventually I got to the lake. I stopped and paused for breath. I couldn't see Aunt Annie where was he already at the bottom of the lake? Maybe he had drowned already. It was my fault for not getting there fast enough. And then I heard a faint cry and a splash. It was my brother, and he had fallen into the water. Chapter 6. Without a second thought, well, maybe I did stop and think about it for a split second. I have only just learned how to jump into the dip, and I ran down to the water, put my fingers over my nose, and jumped straight in and landed crack on my ankles. The lake was only about 15 centimeters deep around the edge, and my brother was sitting down in the water. He wasn't drowning, but he was completely soaking wet. I picked him up. I didn't care. He hadn't drowned, and that was all that mattered. Although, of course, you only need a few centimeters of water to drown in. So he was very lucky. If I had been a few seconds later, who knows what might have happened. Luckily, Aunt thought he was having an adventure, and he didn't cry a bit when I carried him back through the woods. I met Aunt Aggie lumbering away from the tea room. "Oh, my dears, whatever happened to you?" she said. "You won't tell your mother, will you?" Well, I didn't tell my mom, but plenty of other people did. It turns out that there was someone from the local paper there, and he took a photo. It was in the paper and everything. You may have seen it. Gar saves brother from drowning, which is pretty silly, really, as Aunt wasn't really in danger, or not much, but I suppose you never know what might have happened, and it made a good story for the papers. Mom was pleased too, because very soon after that, Aunt Aggie decided to move out. The ice cream seller asked her to marry him, so she was over the moon too. What a day that is, I can tell you. Perfect was it the flower girl, annoying the aunt running around shouting like a loony, as the Aunt Aggie herself. Well, that's a story for another day. And the mom and dad kept telling me that if it wasn't for me, Aunt might be not here today. Brave Bella, they call me now, which is rubbish, as I don't think he was really going to drown. But I'm not saying anything, well, not one single thing, because if I play my cards right, I might just be able to pursue them to let me have my belly button pierced. Before they remember that I really am awkward Annie. Bye!